Imagine this, there was a period in my life around 3 to 4 years where I was sleeping in every single morning. I would go throughout my day just barely skimming by. I remember I just couldn't seem to find the energy to get focused, to feel empowered. I was just always feeling mentally and physically drained, and therefore as a result it actually started messing with my head, my level of confidence. And maybe you felt this before, maybe you feel like this right now. You're having a hard time being social, you don't have that oomph to go up and talk to that girl, you're just not feeling like the man that you ought to be. This right here, this was me 100%. And it's weird because growing up I was always real energetic, always playing outside, always doing something. I was active, always involved in sports. And then around 23 there was a shift, you know, that's when things started to take a left turn. And around this time I would spend most of my days just feeling depleted, trying to just find that motivation type of thing. I then started putting on a little bit of weight, and then it was weird because I was kind of like skinny at the same time. And then people online all the time were commenting me, telling me I'm skinny fat, and it was pissing me off, bro. And then as a few years went by, I finally went online, did some research, and the more I searched about why am I feeling so low, why am I feeling so tired, so weak, why am I looking skinny but fat at the same time, and then all the dots started connecting. These right here were all signs of low testosterone. So long story short, I went to the doctor to get my blood ran, and then when the labs came back, my doctor looked at it and he's like, oh, well, there's your problem right there. And I was extremely low. I was at like 320 nanograms per deciliter, which is like equivalent to a 60-year-old. And I know a lot of men come on this channel and they're super against this, and they're like, Dre, why are you encouraging young men to get on TRT, to get on drugs? And they like kind of shame me for it. Hey, look, I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything. I'm just saying this is a choice I made, and I've personally seen nothing but benefits for me. On a personal note, the second I started taking it, within like those first 3 or 4 days, things drastically improved for me, and I personally don't regret getting on TRT whatsoever, 0%. So the doctor prescribed me just a very low dose just to boost me up to the equivalence of another man my age. And then of course I did that in conjunction with actually building better lifestyle habits, because that's my job here on YouTube, right? I'm constantly researching this stuff, and therefore I don't just teach it, I also practice it myself. I implement it in my own life. My dad actually went ahead and did the same thing as well. We both got on TRT, and that's another point I'm trying to make here as well, is especially if you're getting older, you may want to consider getting on TRT because you have such a decline at that age. But hey, check it out, bro. My dad just turned 60, and this is the best he's ever looked, hands down. It's actually kind of funny because we were at the gym the other day working out together, and there was this like Zumba class going on right next to us, and the class was full of old people. Actually, not even like that old. They were just like in their 60s, maybe early 70s, same age as my dad. And so I filmed them. I actually posted this up on my Instagram, and I said, most people at 60 versus my dad at 60. And my dad, of course, making those lifestyle changes, building better habits in conjunction with being on TRT. You can just see the difference, bro. My dad still got that vigor, he's got that aggression, while most people his age, their bodies are breaking down. And now the sad reality of this is not just the older people, but now our generation, the younger guys, even guys in their early 20s are now starting to deal with low testosterone, which has never happened before. And it's because of, many things. There's so many things. This world is against us men right now, pretty much. There's a war on masculinity, there's a war on testosterone, and everything in the air, the pollution, the things that we eat, the things that we touch. Like just the other day, I found out that even touching receipts, this stuff right here is so toxic, and the BPA is just so off the charts that when you touch it and then you say you eat some like chicken or scratch your nuts or something like that, your testosterone is literally declining right there on the spot, which is scary. So what I'm gonna do right now is go ahead and go through 7 signs that you may have low testosterone, and make sure you stay tuned towards the end because that 7th one is probably the most major one of them all. Number 1, social anxiety. Now just another quick story I kind of want to tie in right here. So last month, about a month and a half ago actually, I decided to take a full entire month off of my prescription, my testosterone. And at first it wasn't like intentional at all. I just had ran out and I hadn't booked an appointment yet. And so I remember by like week 4-ish, I remember by the end of that week I was feeling so low, I was feeling so unmotivated. Trying to make these videos here on YouTube was just like, it was not working, it was not happening. I had no enthusiasm, I had no motivation, no nothing. And so yeah, by the end of that month, I realized, I looked back and I was like, oh, you know what? It's probably because I'm low in testosterone right now. I haven't been on. So I went to the doctor, we got my blood ran, and my results came back. I was actually at 100 nanograms per deciliter.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
The reason why I was so low more than, when I was in the very beginning was simply because I had gotten off cold turkey and it didn't give my body enough time to naturally come back up, boost itself up just at least a little bit. So anyways, that right there was actually proof of why I was just feeling so down and out that last week. And I remember during that last week, as a result of me feeling so low and uninspired, it actually started messing with my mentality, my brain. And I remember even just going to the gym, I was having a hard time talking to people, conversing, and then therefore that was making me feel kind of like insecure. It was making all my social anxiety just come back out again, just percolate through. You know, because a lot of you know my history, my story when I was younger about dealing with social anxiety and how I was, you know, over time I was able to push through that barrier. But during that last week, bro, all that started coming back out again. I was feeling super shy, super insecure, and it was simply because I was super low in T. And then once I got back on, about 3 days later, I just went back to being my normal self. And so that's just kind of like my point I'm trying to make there is when you don't have that vigor, when you don't have that aggression that testosterone gives a man, it's like, how do you go on about your life? How do you attack life? How do you attack your dreams? How do you attack your goals? How do you attack women? Not like attack women, not like go up to them and like knock them out. I mean, like, how do you attack the mission of pursuing a woman?
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
It's hard to be social when you don't have that oomph, when you don't have that vigor. And then the more you seclude yourself and you become antisocial, the more you immerse yourself into that dark world of isolation. That's scary because then that can end up in this loop where you just become all the more insecure, resulting in, which is number 2, low status. Now, I don't mean to sound so demeaning, but how are you going to rise and rank as a man in that whole hierarchy of society if you're low in testosterone? It's gonna be very difficult. Having low T, it's a huge problem because in most cases, you're gonna lack that vigor, you're gonna lack that drive to become your most powerful, most masculine self. I mean, of course, you know, there's plenty of men out there in the world that the reason why they don't have high status is just simply because of the fact that they're lazy, that they aren't putting in the work, that they aren't building themselves, building up an empire. But if you are about that life, like, you know, you are, I mean, that's why you're here watching this video right now. It's gonna be very difficult for you, just being honest, to be confident, to be aggressive, to be social, to grab your nutsack and go up and talk to that girl, to take a little bit of risk, to set up those business meetings, and just to overall build up your status as a man when you're low in testosterone. Going back to when I used to have low testosterone, it was like, all I wanted to do was stay inside of my room, my little comfort zone. There was no way in hell. I didn't even want to go to the gym, bro. Like, that's just sad. But as soon as I boosted up my testosterone, I had this newfound vibrant energy, ready to take risk. And then as a result, which I've noticed this in a lot of guys as well, you get this like new kind of I don't give a F type of mindset, which can be used in a very harmful way or a very good way. So you got to be aware of this. You got to be kind of cautious with this, you know, this new type of mindset. For me, I used it in a good way. It was just like, I don't give a F anymore of what people think about me, if they put me down, if they throw shade at my name, if they talk down on me. Like, I'm gonna stay mission focused. I'm gonna stay on my path that God has for me type of thing, you know? For me, it was more of like a I'ma gets mines type of thing. Thus building status for myself. And not just here online on YouTube, but then that status started to bleed into my real physical life. Like just yesterday, I was with my best friend Joel and my wife Bree, and we were out at Dutch Bros. It was my cheat day, so I was getting myself like a big old giant frappuccino. And then this guy came up to us. He's like, "Hey, aren't you that YouTuber kid?" So now my status is not just building online, but also a little bit in real life as well, just naturally as a result. And I know it sounds kind of funny, but it all stems when you like retrace everything back to its resource. It all stems back from me boosting up my testosterone and just getting aggressive about life. The third sign that you're low in testosterone is your skinny fat. Just like I was saying earlier with me, during those few years, I started to lose muscle mass and gain body fat, which resulted in me looking skinny fat. And that's why everybody was writing all these kind of mean, hurtful comments at me. And then at that time too, bro, like I had never stopped working out. I was always consistent in that area no matter what. But during that time especially, I was working out twice a day because I started noticing my body. I started noticing everything on me just kind of looking a little weird. So I got into the gym. I started working out even harder. And then on top of that, bro, it hurt me, bro. I'm gonna be real with you. But I remember I was posting these videos online and people were literally telling me, "Hey Dre, great video, but dude, you would look so much better if you actually started working out." And it's like, bro, that hurt because I was like putting in hour after hour at the gym and people saying that you don't even look like you work out. Oof, that was kind of rough on me. And then on top of that, dude, like I'm sitting here, I'm making sure I'm calculating all my macros, making sure that I'm getting in enough protein every day. I think I got up to like 200 grams per day, which is far more than I even needed. And it just seemed like everything was working against me. I just kept looking worse and worse. Meanwhile, my best friend David at the time, this guy, you could just look at at him and tell his testosterone is just off the charts. He has amazing genetics. His body's in mint condition. He rarely ever works out. I've never seen him count his macros, not even one time. Yet I'm seeing all these little girlies giggling, pointing, looking at him, thinking he's all cute.
I'm built different.
Not paying any attention whatsoever to me, the guy who's actually working his butt off in the gym, who's exhausting himself, meal prepping every single day, counting all his macros. And so, bro, I remember getting so bitter, so jealous. But at the same time, I knew something was wrong. Something was off. And of course, it was just the simple fact that I was low in testosterone. The fourth one is a droopy face. Now, this goes hand in hand with the whole skinny fat concept. Not only do you get skinny fat on your body, but your face also gets that skinny fat look, right? Because you got all these, you don't realize it, but you got all these little muscles in your face, bro, especially like the jawline. You got those jawline muscles. And so if you're low in testosterone, bro, you're gonna actually lose muscle mass, not only in your body, but in your face as well. And then you're gonna put on facial fat, just as you would on your body, right? Makes sense. I know this kind of sounds like bro science, but it's not. This is real science.
Bro tip, bro tip, bro tip, bro fact.
This right here was the exact thing that was happening with me, bro. I remember looking in the mirror at one point in my life at like around, 23. And I was just like, something's wrong, bro. Like, something's off. What's going on, dude? And I remember I was getting like this double chin, because I have like a small chin as well. But I remember I was losing muscle mass really bad right here in the chin jawline area. And then I was starting to get like this double droopy chin thing going on. And it was because I was starting to build up like fat in this area. And I remember at that time, I was trying to do all these like jaw, mouth, facial exercises and stuff, trying to build up like muscles again, and none of it was working. And it was just because the simple fact that I was low in testosterone, and just like how my body couldn't put on muscle, my face couldn't put on muscle. So that's a great point too, bro. Like for all you guys that are trying to do you guys buy that little like jazzercise thing when you like bite down on it, which that's cool, it's a fine concept, but if you're low in testosterone, it's not going to result in building up muscle in your face. And then on top of that, you're going to have face fat as well. So even if you did build up facial muscles, they're not going to really show because you got face fat covering it. So I'm not trying to say all this to make you feel like hopeless, but it's just something to keep in consideration. Number 5, not having morning wood. Now at first I was gonna say having like a low sex drive is a sign, but I remember even me at my lowest when I was at like 300, even last month when I was at 100 nanograms per deciliter. So I can't really say that I had no sex drive whatsoever. Like I was still ready to go. My wife and I were still having sex like every single day. But one thing I was noticing was that I was having no morning wood whatsoever. Never once did I have any low libido. Never once did I have like erectile dysfunction. The only time I've ever kind of like dealt with that in the past was when I was just watching too much prawn. But anyways, the reason why you even get morning wood in the first place is simply because of the fact that during the night while you're sleeping, this is actually the time where you're producing the most testosterone. And it's so embarrassing for me to talk about, bro, but back when I was like, in my mid 20s, and I was very low in testosterone. I wasn't, dude, for like years, it would be very rare that I woke up with an erection. Very rare. And I remember for a while there, I was getting scared. It was kind of like freaking me out. And maybe because it was also in conjunction with the amounts of prawn I was watching at that time as well, and I was constantly just spilling my seed over and over and over again, where I had like nothing left. I was just like depleted of all testosterone, of all like semen, you know? But now it's a whole different ballgame. Me changing those bad habits, not watching prawn anymore, not fapping it to all these images and videos and stuff, and then also raising my testosterone. Those two things together, it's a whole different ballgame, right? Now, I mean, now I'm getting erections all throughout the night, and it's like literally waking me up. This is a little bit too much information, but whatever. Last night, me and my wife were both sleeping, and she moved over, and her hand, like, landed on top of my Johnson, and I was hard, right? And then it both got us kind of going, and then at 2:00 a.m. in the morning, bro, we go to town.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Just being honest. So I mean, hey, that right there, that's another great benefit to getting that morning wood, or those erections throughout the night. Number 6, a high-pitched voice. I didn't want to say this tip, and then me kind of say it like in a high-pitched way. But no, hey, check it out. I was reading this article. It was actually an article on ScienceDirect.com, and it was written back in 1999, but I think it's still relevant. But it says that they did this study with 61 different men, and amongst all these men, they said that higher levels of testosterone were significantly associated with lower pitched voices.
Watch your tone, boy.
And this kind of made sense to me because comparing, you could even go back yourself and look at my old videos from like 2014 to 2015, compare it to now, and you can see the difference from my voice. You can see the progression, like as I started raising up my testosterone a bit more, my voice started to deepen a little bit. And it's not like a huge drastic difference, but you can tell it like did turn down a few notches. And the last one, number 7, probably the most major sign, hands down, is the simple fact that you hate discipline. In other words, you're lazy and you don't mind it. You don't even care that you're lazy. See, what happens is, and I've noticed this myself, bro, this is one of the biggest key indicators for me in my own life, and this is one of the things that I drastically saw a difference in. And when you are high in testosterone, you just naturally desire to work hard versus when you're not. See, when you're low in testosterone, you can't wait to get a day off. You can't wait to have a 3-day weekend. You can't wait to just chill on your couch and eat potato chips. And then when you do that, you don't even care. Like, you don't even feel bad about it. But when you're high in testosterone, if you do have some time off, if you are kind of sitting around and you know you're being lazy, it doesn't sit right with you. You need to get up off your lazy ass and you need to get to work. And on top of that, you need to make up for your lost time. And I noticed for me, bro, like that's my goal right there. Every day when my head hits that pillow, it's like I reflect back on my day, and if I know I put in that work, if I know I gave it my all, if I know that if I know I just attacked my mission, then I can go to bed peacefully. I can have a little smile on my face. But like the days where I know in my head that I could have gave it a little more, it's almost like it keeps me up at night. Like, it pisses me off. And it's kind of funny because it makes me think of, I had this friend that I used to always work out with, and whenever we would work out, this was like 3 or 4 years ago, all he would do he would just complain the whole time. He would do a set of like bicep curls and just be like, man, I hate, like the whole time, bro. And I stopped working out with him because it's just annoying. I don't want to keep hearing that, bro. But for those of us that are high in testosterone, you work out, bro, and it's almost like you can't get enough. Like I remember Arnold saying, he's talking about the pump, right? I have a horrible Arnold impersonation, so I won't do it. But he'd always talk about how the pump, it feels like coming, I think he said. Like that's how much he loves it.
It's as satisfying to me as coming is. You know, as having sex with a woman and coming.
And that's how it kind of should be when you go to the gym. Like, yeah, it's exhausting, it takes a lot out of you, but at the same time, like, you as a man with high testosterone, you can't get enough of it, bro. Like, it feels good to just give it your all. And that right there, this is kind of like if I had to make a bonus sign, or like sign number 8, I guess you could say, is that you're not aggressive. If you are a man and you're not aggressive, that is a sign that you're low in testosterone. I drive around town, bro. This is a perfect example. Like I always say, I live in this town of like old people, everybody's freaking old in this town, and I have these cars driving in front of me, bro, going like 25 miles per hour, and I fly past them and I'm like, they're just like old farts, and I'm just like, whatever. But I'm like, bro, that's proof right there. You got all these like old people that are just completely depleted in their testosterone, and they don't even mind it, dude. They're just cruising, bro. And me, it's like I'm kind of like an aggressive driver now. I used to not be, but now I am, and I always like drive way too fast. I'm surprised I've never gotten a ticket in my life. And then this also makes me think about guys like one of my favorite dudes, my favorite actors is Sylvester Stallone, the guy who did all the Rocky movies. He's like almost 80, bro. And you look at him compared to most 80-year-olds, and he's still making movies, bro. He's still making action films, kicking ass. This guy's in great shape still. He's been on testosterone since the second Rocky movie, which I think he was like early 30s. And even with him, dude, a guy like that, like you can still see him kind of like towards the end of his life, he's still pumping out content. He's still mission focused, aggressive. He has that vigor, the same if not more than he had when he was at 20, 30 years old.
The older I get, the more things I gotta leave behind. That's life.
And so that's why right there, that's why it is so important that we do get our levels checked, in my opinion, and just make sure that our testosterone levels are in check. Now, just real quick note before I go ahead and end this video, don't think that just by going to a doctor and getting on TRT that this is gonna be your saving grace and everything's gonna change from here on out. You have to also combine that with good, healthy lifestyle habits as well. Make good choices that actually benefit your life, your health, your spiritual mentality, everything, every single aspect. In fact, I would also say to make sure to do that first. See if you can boost your testosterone naturally, and then if you feel like you need to get another boost on top of that, then go to the doctor and see if there's an actual problem, see if you're actually deficient like I was. Because bro, you can inject yourself with testosterone every single week as much as you want. And I mean, yeah, initially, like if your goal is to put on some size, put on some muscle, yeah, within those first month or two, you'll put on like a good 5 pounds, maybe 6 or 7, but then you do get capped off. You don't just keep growing and growing and growing, keep on losing weight. Like you actually have to be on a good diet, you actually have to go to the gym, have a good routine. That all has to come into play as as well. Like, you can't just think that you can sit back and become this amazing, high level, top tier Giga Chad. You do have to put in the work as well. So, hey, appreciate you guys. If you dug today's video, please give it a nice big thumbs up. Hit the notifications button to be informed when I drop a new one. And check out this vid right here. It's a powerful, powerful one. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace always.